North-South Connection. Welcome, most extreme menage a trois violence of experience here on episode 125. The Extreme Three-Way Dance. Yes, it is our, I don't know, blood anniversary. I don't know what 125 is in the world. Actually, barbed wire. It's our barbed wire anniversary. You have to give a barbed wire gift.
Hot.
We'll go with that. I'm JT, Jenny, and Matt. Joining me as always. Glad to see Jenny still sticking with her name here of Miss Geniality. And of course, if you're seeing that, it means you're watching us on YouTube. So thank you. We're also simulcast on all audio podcast feeds on the North-South Connection. So you can find us on either. Be sure to subscribe, leave a comment, a like, all kinds of cool content going on. Bad Blood recently went down. And of course, you can go back and relive the previews. We'll have a post show for that. That should be live. There's some fun draft stuff going on. It is October. So, of course, it's Freak Out Drive-In Month over on the Jenny Position every Wednesday. Check that out. All kinds of cool content. Be sure to subscribe and get in on the fun. We have some fun ahead tonight, folks, because we have 3 episodes of ECW television, 2 ECW on TNN, sandwiching 1 hardcore TV. We are in the fallout from Anarchy Rules, and we are starting the slow walk toward November to Remember 1999. Before we dive in, any quick thoughts want to hit on?
On this? No.
Life?
Yeah. Oh, well, it's Libra season, so that's the best season.
Zebra season? Is that what you said?
Libra season, sir.
Close to zebra season, but not quite.
It's going to fire up some Michael Jackson, Black or White, if we're talking zebra season.
Oh, yeah. Wow. That was
Joey Styles and Joel Gertner in the ring here on the 9/24/99 episode of ECW on TNN. The crowd is fired up. Joel does his usual shtick. Joey's annoyed. We're at the Burt Flickinger Center in Buffalo, of course, one of our favorite homes. Here in ECW, Joey brings out Tommy Dreamer and Francine. Of course, we get a robust show your tits chant. Joey asks Tommy how his back is, but Joel cuts in and says, if you can't work, just hang it up. He rips on Francine, says he's tired of hearing about Francine. He knows of a girl in the back that is pure, virginal, and chaste. She's not a 115-pound sack of silicone like Francine, and she's seen 850 less hotel room ceilings. Joey gets pissed. Joel is cowering in the corner as Francine's stomping around. And Joel brings out Miss Congeniality. She's flanked by Roadkill and Dangerous Danny Doring. Miss Congeniality flirts with Joel, but Francine immediately spears her. We get a cat fight, and Tommy fights off Roadkill and Doring. The bell rings. So that's our opening matchup. And that is Tommy Dreamer taking on Roadkill and Doring. Tommy's working over both guys. They're stooging around. The girls are scrapping. Tommy loads Doring for the Spicoli driver, but his back gives out and Doring slips into the bareback. Roadkill mashes Tommy with a top rope splash as Joey and Joel finally get to the booth. Raven is out, and the champs hit stereo DDTs for the squash win. So Raven and Dreamer beat Roadkill and Doring. Raven hugs Tommy with a smile, stomps Doring, and leaves as Tommy recovers. Again, more of a segment than a match, Maddie. Raven and Dreamer rolling on as champs. Same stuff we've seen so far since Raven's return, where he's just kind of showing up at the last second, helping Tommy retain the belt so he can continue to torture him. Just went half a star, more angle than match.
Yeah, I went half a star on it. You're exactly right. It's more angle than match. Par for the course with what Raven's return has been so far. We need to do more than this. I think at this point, it's been, a month of Raven just randomly showing up, hitting a DDT, and then that's the end of the match. I feel like, it almost feels to me like they're kind of building off the past with Dreamer and Raven, and they haven't really done anything new. And I think we're at the point now where, okay, Raven's here. Like, we need to do the next step to this, because this, we've seen it before, but it's too much of it now. Like, we need to do something else beside this. So, I went half a star. It was barely a match, if you even want to call it that. So, but yeah, we need to move on or at least get to the next step of this, Jenny.
Was this meant to be a tag match or a Tommy Dreamer match where Raven came in?
Whatever it is. Like, I don't know. I guess I think it's meant to be a tag match, and the idea is that Raven leaves them hanging every time until the end.
So that would be like how I would steer my discussion as we're talking about, the tag picture, or are we talking about Raven's return yet again? Like he's trying to redo this over and over again, like in every city that they go to or something.
That's probably part of it. I'm guessing that Tommy's, I don't know if he's healed or not. Like if they're dragging this out just to make it a storyline. I don't know if Raven's freaking hurt. Like I know we talked about it a bit in a recent episode. Like, is he recovering from something? And that's why they're doing this, where he's not really wrestling. I don't know. I'm not sure where it goes. We'll find out. But we're getting.
It
I
feels
had
like
very
this is
limited knowledge of
literally
ECW
all they
coming
can
in,
do.
and we're really getting to the era where I don't remember or know much. So we'll see. But go ahead, Jenny.
No, it just feels like this is all he came back to do, like, or they literally can't do it, but they're just gonna, I don't know, fuck around with the tag titles for a minute. Like, I love Raven being back, but yeah, we've done this a bunch. He's not cutting promos really. I mean, we see them do like one promo. There's no story really.
Yeah.
No.
It's just all, like you said, past stuff, and it's just not gonna work.
And any story they're trying to tell is really through commentary. It's just right.
Yes.
Joey's the one who keeps saying,
right.
Oh, Raven and him and Joel are the ones that keep saying, like, oh, Raven's just tormenting Tommy. This is Tommy's first ever title, and if he wants to keep it, he's going to deal with Raven, or he can turn on Raven and lose the belt, which would piss off his fans, right? Joey keeps kind of hammering that home, but we haven't told that story through the guys in any way.
No.
I think there's
Tommy
something
hasn't
to
talked about wanting this title. He doesn't seem like Tommy gives a fuck about titles, honestly.
No, he never has. That's always been the thing, right? But the position, like Joey positions it as his fans, like he's doing it for his fans more than for Tommy, right? Like, oh, his fans want to see him with the gold. But I think you're onto something, right? I think part of it is they're touring more. So yeah, are they doing it more to get it to the different cities and different towns, get it on TNN, get it on Hardcore, get it on pay-per-view, right? Like we try to hit all the angles before we move on. It's definitely possible. So we'll have to see if it continues to be a thing. Get our opening animation. We come back. Dreamer's in the ring still. Says he doesn't have many matches left in his back, and that's pretty funny considering 20 years later he's still
fucking wrestling, dude.
He wants Raven to come out right now, finish this for good. Raven saunters out. He fakes getting in the ring and leaves. Just forever a troll is Raven. So Paul E shows a free ECW merchandise catalog and magazine. Joey and Joel are in the nest. Joel's in his bag today. He calls Joey Sammy Davis Jr. with throat polyps. He says Joey's hurting a bit. Joel takes us to clips of Taz's ECW title reign, walks us through everything that happened in Anarchy Rules. We get the breaking news. Taz was shockingly eliminated first in his match with Tanaka and Mike Awesome at the pay-per-view. After a break, Joel says we'll find out who the new champion is after the next match. So, Jen, I always consider this like a Saturday Night Event universe concept where they almost act like anyone watching certain shows doesn't maybe watch what's going on between the shows, right? So like NBC, Saturday Night Event on NBC, they always treated that audience like they were their own world half the time. So they would show stuff that maybe we had seen a million times on Superstars or pay-per-views. They would continue over angles month to month that may have no other interaction on TV. There was like last time on Saturday Night Event. And that's because it's national TV, right? It's all potentially different. So I think ECW is doing a similar thing here, treating the TNN audience, and rightfully so. I think it's smart, right? They're treating the TNN audience as if they probably aren't watching hardcore TV, and if they are, then cool, they're already on board anyway. So I think that they're tailoring this to like an audience that may not be up to speed as much on what's going on. So the tease of saying who the world champion is, it may really be the first time a lot of these people watching the show are going to find out that Mike Awesome is the new world champion, right?
Yeah, I mean, all that makes sense. I mean, it comes across, and we've talked about it. So I'm not going to complain about it. I will complain about the use of Joel and poor Joey. Like, he can't even talk.
Well, he did sound rough at the end of the pay-per-view.
He really did. Yeah. And like, why is he even on TV?
Like, right, exactly.
Just why are you there? But Joel on his own is just too much. It's just not great for me. I like his zingers, but when he's walking you through a match or trying to explain something to you, that's not good.
We needed Jay Sully back.
Something.
For one night.
Anybody.
Was that a guy that we had way back in the day? Not Sully, but who's the guy that filled in? Remember when Joey had the contract stuff in like 94?
Yeah.
Can't remember his friggin' name.
I don't remember either.
I mean, you could have put anybody there, like to replace just something for Joel to bounce his shit off of,
Right.
Because I mean, Joey can handle a show by himself. We've seen it a billion times. Joel can't. Like Joel is the shtick guy. He needs someone to bounce his shit off of, and him calling a show solo because Joey can't talk is it's a choice. Like why even have Joey there? I know Joey's like the voice of ECW, but if he doesn't have a fucking voice at all, like why is he there?
Let him have the fucking night off, dude.
Yeah, it's
Don't
just
make
weird.
him stand up there and stooge around with Joel.
Yeah.
We
I
have
don't
Maddie
know.
in the house. Stevie Wonderful. But those weren't the guys. Who the hell was the guy's name? He's not even on this. Where it is even on this list? Jay Sully.
Maybe it was Sully.
Or was it Stevie Wonderful? No.
No.
There was a guy that remember it was like it wasn't Sully. Sully was before it was when it was Eastern.
Mhm.
There was someone that did it when Joey was out, and we didn't even think he was a real person.
Yes. I just don't remember his name.
I'm gonna have to look back, but anyway.
But they're making Joel like a character in the TNN universe.
Right.
You know, he doesn't get much to do on hardcore TV usually. So.
Yeah, it feels like they're trying to make TNN like his thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then
which we had kind of called it on that.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
All right.
It's going to bug you.
It's going to drive me nuts. I'll find it. I'll have to just go back to my original notes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, look, we got bigger things to fry here. So we got to get back to the ring. We have a classic feud reignited. It's super crazy. Takes on our good friend, a little Guido. And of course, that means only one thing. I see Jenny's Italian flag cup there.
I was going to make that joke.
Is that from Sbarro?
It's a Sefco, which is a gas station.
Oh,
the
Italian gas station. Very good.
It is an Italian
Sefco, Italy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'm going to describe a movie and we'll see who guesses it first. So shout out your answer. You should both know it. In 1960, 9-year-old Calogero lives in Belmont, a working class Italian American neighborhood in the Bronx with his father, Lorenzo, a surface transit bus driver. Huh?
What? Goodfellas?
Nope. Oh. And his mother, Rosina. Calogero becomes enamored of the mafia presence in his neighborhood, led by local boss Sonny. Nope. One day, Calogero sees Sonny shoot and kill a man assaulting his friend.
Porky Romano.
Keeps quiet when questioned by the NYPD. Sonny's men offer Lorenzo a better paying job, but he's preferring a law-abiding life. He declines. Sonny then befriends Calogero and gives him the nickname C. He earns tips working at Sonny's bar and throwing dice. Admonished by Lorenzo when he discovers the cash, does not want his son hanging around with the mafia. And the story goes on from there in
Rocky VI.
The 1993 American coming-of-age crime drama film titled
Demolition Man.
Oh, my Lord. A Bronx Tale, starring Robert De Niro and Chaz.
Never even.
You've never seen A Bronx Tale?
Remotely, no.
I've heard of it. I've never seen it.
Oh, my God. Look, I'm not going to criticize. I'm not a big movie guy. I'm closer to Logan than Keithy.
Mm-hmm.
But you should watch The Bronx Tale. It's a great movie. Great actors, obviously, with De Niro and Palminteri. Catherine Narducci from Sopranos is in there as the mom as well. So anyway, I'm not going to spoil the movie since you haven't seen it, but it's a great movie about Italian American culture. And of course, as always, with that, has their war with the African Americans in the Bronx, back and forth, leads to kind of a street battle. An interesting dichotomy of a hardworking Italian American man, and his son is falling for this mobster who's taking him in as his own son. But they also respect each other because they went to school. So the mob guy doesn't want to have to hurt the dad because they go like way back, and he respects him from back in the neighborhood. So it's an interesting movie, good, really well acted movie, and I believe it's like the impetus for everything Chaz Palminteri has done ever since his one show and everything else he does. So anyway, I highly recommend it.
Was that like a big one for you growing up? Like, is this like?
No, I think I saw it later on, for sure. And I just thought it was really well done. I know it holds up really well, pretty well regarded. So I'm going to say this. I think you guys should have to both watch it before we tape next. And then the Italian lesson will be you telling me your thoughts on the Bronx Tale. So sure, check it out.
Let me make a note of that.
All right. Little Guido taking on Super Crazy. Guido rides down on Sal. Crazy bounces out to a nice reception. Joel continues to troll Joey, mixes in some Spanish while talking about Crazy. We start some chain work with Guido controlling the arm as the crowd's rallying super crazy. Crazy works free into a flurry of counters and transitions. Guido stumbles to the corner, bails to the floor. We reset with Guido slapping Crazy. Comes back with a tight tilt-a-whirl backbreaker. Guido bails again. Crazy follows a baseball slide. He throws Guido into the crowd, meets him with a perfect outside moonsault. They head back inside in the ring where Crazy pours it on with a nice superplex. He twists into a surfboard, but misses a splash off the top. Guido takes it to the mat, uses a chicken wing, chucks Crazy outside. Sal throws him to the railing and avalanches him, throws him back in. Guido gets 2. Guido dodges a springboard clothesline, goes to Fujiwara armbar, then follows with a stiff Sicilian slice for 2. Guido chokes away, ties up the ref as Sal comes in and drops Crazy with a powerbomb. Guido hits a middle rope splash, but Crazy kicks out. Joel continues to troll Joey. We get a frustrated Guido kicking and chopping away. Crazy tries a Rana, but Guido pancakes him for 2. Guido stomps away. Crazy comes back with a spinning DDT and the triple moonsaults, but on the second one, eats some knees. Sal comes in. He drags Crazy up for another powerbomb, but Crazy turns out into a Rana. That takes Sal out of the way and then hits a brainbuster on Guido for the win. And Jenny, this is a great little TV match. It hummed along. Fantastic chemistry, as always. I think Sal's underrated. Like, he bobs and weaves so nicely with Guido. He's like a fat Italian man's Sherry with the way he interacts, like he used to with Savage, where he comes in, Guido's got the ref tied up, he's in and out. For a big dude, he really kind of shuffles in and out pretty well. I thought Guido was great when he was on offense, and Crazy survived and finished with a hard closer for a clean win. So 3.25 for me. I mean, business as usual for these dudes.
I would agree. I would like to see Guido win this fucking match.
Yeah, he doesn't win much.
Yeah, definitely doesn't win and works his fucking ass off.
Mm.
Like, he's just fun to watch. Love Sal. Sal is so, how is he sneaky and he weighs fucking 600 pounds? I don't get it.
He moves smooth.
Yeah, the camera does a good job of like letting him like come out of nowhere sometimes. It's really fun. Great chemistry. I love that surfboard and the way that he had Guido up, Guido's muscles and his legs were just like like you could just like they were standing out. It looked awesome. It was a great shot. But this is just really fun and I love this matchup. Like Crazy works well with pretty much anybody, honestly. It's just I love that brain buster, just so snappy right at the end. So I don't know. I really liked it. These matches are sort of like a saving grace for me a little bit because I'm like a little bit down on what we got going on overall. But I love me a Guido match. So I did 3.25 as well, Matt.
Yeah, I went 3 on it. Super fun match. Crazy took a fucking beating in this, which was like from Sal, from Guido, from anybody. Like, and he was kicking out of everything, so it helps him big time. Like that power bomb he took from Sal was just brutal. Sal was fantastic during this match. Like I thought it was the best maybe Sal has looked, and he's always looked good, but I think this is the best he's looked. Like just fucking crushing Crazy in the guardrail, the power bombs, just everything he does for a guy that fucking big to be like that cat-like, I guess, on his feet. It's kind of fucking wild to see. So yeah, I mean, a great match here, par for the course with these guys. Actually, Joel calling this by himself hurt it a little bit for me.
Yeah.
Because boy, but I mean, you gotta kind of roll with the punches on that, I guess, considering Joey didn't have a voice. So 3 stars for me.
Why couldn't Paulie sit in? I mean, where's Prazak or where's Cyrus? Like,
yeah, it must have just happened. Like,
right then.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like maybe they started to do it and his voice went because it seems like he's in the open. So maybe he tried to push through and then
poor guy.
He was just like, forget it, no go. So they just kind of fudged through it. Jen, you were never. I found the guy. You're not gonna remember his. I mean, I would have never guessed this in a million years. What his name was?
What?
Willie Scoop Watts.
Scoop. Oh, okay.
Oh. Well, now that I'm saying it, I remember it, but I didn't.
Yeah, Scoop,
I would have never have guessed what it was.
Yeah, absolutely not. How far did you have to dig for that shit?
I had to go back to my early notes from when we started the show. It was like the summer of it was the spring and summer '94 when Joey had the contract dispute.
That's right.
Back. It looked like he came back in time for Hostile City Showdown.
Back in the D'Amato days. The
podcast. I know. I was reading through some of the matches quick and just completely different world.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that holds true. If you look at WWF '94 and '99, it's pretty.
Yeah.
Also. All right. Sal attacks Crazy after the match. Highway to Hell hits. Out comes Spike. He goes right at Sal, hits him with an acid drop. It gets a 3 count. I mean, whatever. Joey says, don't be fooled by cheap imitations. And the Giant Killer's alive in ECW. I don't even know what the fuck that means. I don't know who was
Is there
imitating.
another little guy somewhere?
Had Crash Holly, I guess, debuted maybe at this point.
The only thing I can think of was earlier in the year, Rey Mysterio was doing that Giant Killer
Wondering
gimmick.
about.
Yeah, that must be
he beat Nash, he beat Bam Bam, but this was like 6 months before that. So
yeah, the only the guy I think of is Crash. I think had showed up right around here to team with Hardcore, but I don't think he was doing like a giant. They were the super heavyweight, so they weren't doing like a Giant Killer. They were pretending they were big.
Yeah.
I don't know. I you know my thoughts on Spike doing the shit. Like I think it's a criminal misuse of him.
Yeah.
Like he's better in the ring than this, and I'm fine when it's PN News or One Man Gang or one of these like slobs that comes in for a night, but like Sal's been pretty well protected. He's a big part of the FBI. I know he had just taken offense and Crazy, so I guess you could say, well, he just took a Rana or whatever, but I don't know.
That's the thing that.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's the thing that gets me is that you have a roster that's already super thin at this point, and you're wasting Spike in these like 10-minute 10-second matches. Like just have him fucking wrestle on full length match. You could do this and have him wrestle a 5-minute match. You could do both.
Right, and he had been teamed with Balls recently enough, with the tag stuff. So whatever, but.
It was kind of cool though because Guido was standing in the corner for that, and when he went to do the run up, he ran up on Guido's face and shit, hit the acid drop. So I gave it a half star for that.
No stars from me. None.
Wow.
Acid drop these nuts. All right. Joel plugs the merchandise catalog and magazine. Lance Storm and Dawn Marie come to the ring. Joel says Storm does it all for the nookie. After a break, we see that the Impact players have attacked Jerry Lynn using a table. RVD made a save. Our boy Johnny Smith is out as well, but RVD fights him off. The brawl rolls on until the lights dip, and when they come back, Sabu is back and cleaning house. RVD and Sabu bicker. Fonzie tries to separate them. Sabu finally attacks RVD and takes him out as the Impact players beat down Lynn. Sabu puts Credible through a table on the floor with a springboard leg drop. The crowd is losing it for Sabu. Joey and Joel reset in the nest. Joey demands Joel go back to the arena because the locker room is emptied. We have a huge brawl. Out comes New Jack to Natural Born Killers. We see some of that beat down. And then Joel kind of rambles to rap. Joey whispers into directing him to tell us about the new world champion. They fight over the mic, and Joey kind of whisper mumbles us over to footage from Anarchy Rules where Mike Awesome became our new world champion. So this is definitely a weird episode without Joey. You can tell it's some older footage that they probably had recorded pre-Anarchy Rules, so they're just kind of emptying the tank. But we're only a few weeks into TNN, so it's kind of weird, right? Like it's cool to get Guido and Crazy on TV, but not much else really happens, on this show. So,
had
any
we
thoughts
seen
on the
New
end there
Jack?
before we get to the awards?
Had we seen New Jack on TNN?
No, I don't think so.
I think that
might have been his debut as well. So probably that's why he's just in there. Well, he's always just in there kind of randomly. But, yeah, they kept with the wide shot on this too. So it was hard to follow.
That was probably a TNN thing that they didn't want the violence.
Yeah, that's
right
too.
With all the weapons and stuff. And then Sabu attacks RVD during this as well. It's
funny because I feel like, when the country's suffering, they're like, oh, you always go back to like what works, right? Like there's the recession-proof jobs, right? Like always kind of go back to what you know. And I feel like whenever ECW is undergoing some kind of major change or shift, we always go back to Taz versus Sabu or RVD and Sabu. And it feels like or it was Douglas, Dreamer Raven, Douglas, whoever was around at the time,
Bigelow,
when they had to
whatever.
Just fell back. We always have these fallback things that we go to. And it's funny because most wrestling promotions over time, with the exception of a few things like, Triple H and Rock or whatever, but I don't know. It feels like when you've kind of moved on from a few, like we've moved on, but ECW tends to drift back. Like
yes.
Now, again, in their defense, a lot of these things happened at a time before a lot of people were watching, right? RVD Sabu as a feud happened in 97, right? Like that's a lifetime ago for these guys. We had just started on pay-per-view, limited hardcore TV. We hadn't had the WWF exposure as much. So I get running it back. You know, they went back to Taz and Sabu earlier this year, so that's probably part of the thinking. But it does seem like when shit's going down, they go back to what they know. So it looks like we're gonna get, and we haven't really had RVD Sabu for the TV title. I mean, I guess that's fresh, but
yeah, I mean they've been a team long enough where I feel like you can break them up and fuck with it again.
Yeah,
and it feels like they're never gonna really break up. It feels like they're just frenemies.
always
So, like,
always feuding.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to our awards. Okay. Best match, Greedo Crazy kind of.
Yes.
Yep.
Worst match, I went Sal and Spike.
Yeah.
Best moment, I went with Sabu coming out and cleaning house. I mean, the crowd lost their shit for that.
Yeah, they did lose that. I like the cat fight.
I went with Sal power bombing the shit out of Crazy.
Yeah, that was good. Most 90s teasing results of a pay-per-view that went down a week earlier already. It's like fresh. The idea of cheap imitations, I mean, that was a big WF campaign a few years earlier, and you know, something that a lot of these promotions would run out there. And then Joel mentioning Nookie.
Yeah.
Yes, Nookie was
which is probably pretty fresh, right? Did that come out in 98 or 99?
It was either 98 or 99. Yeah, something like
that. Let's see. June 15th, 99. So it is very fresh. Yeah, at this point. All right. So, that's what we did it for. Stock Rising, Raven and Dreamer, Gertner. I liked Joel. I know you weren't a fan, Jenny. Crazy and Sabu for me on this night.
Sal.
And Stock Falling, that's when Joey's voice is polyps.
Oh, poor Joey.
Yeah. Fell off a cliff.
These Scoop Watts.
The TNN format.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's only going to get worse as we get more adversarial.
Oh, I know.
As we get more adversarial. Great, I went 6 out of 10. I mean, it's a pretty missable episode. Yep. It reminded me of like the little prime times or the early Raws that aired like the day after a pay-per-view, but were taped clearly like weeks in advance. So like they don't really talk about much besides some jammed in commentary. Nothing. So it's almost like we'll see next week if like we get kind of some fresh stuff. But they weren't gonna do live TNN tapings like days after the pay-per-view. So it was always gonna be canned. This is how it is with them.
Yeah, I'll do the 6 out of 10 as well.
Yeah, I went 6 on it. I mean, Crazy and Guido was good, but it's nothing must see by any stretch.
All right, September 25th, 1999. We can pretty much buzz this one, honestly. It's a full Anarchy Rules recap. I mean, Joey's in the nest. I mean, Joel's in the nest. Joey's still out. He had viral laryngitis and then messed up his voice trying to do the TNN show. So that's what I think. I think he just tried and like it fucked it up even worse, probably.
Yeah.
Joel says we'll see Anarchy Rules. We're also going to get a match from Philly that many have missed due to the weather that night. Opening animation. We get clips from matches at Anarchy Rules. Joel says many stations could not carry ECW show last week due to extreme weather. So then we see RVD versus Lynn from the ECW arena. And then just more Anarchy Rules stuff. We kind of get different clips, Joel's peppering thoughts in, and then a music video. So whatever. I mean, I had to give it like a 7 out of 10 because I think if you hadn't seen the pay-per-view, like you see all the clips and you get RVD Lynn. If you had missed that due to the weather, I'm guessing it must have been, I don't know if there was a big hurricane or storm at that point, but whatever.
Oh, Jesus, probably so.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean, it seems like most of their stations were screwed up that weekend or whatever.
I mean, yeah, I didn't really know what to rate this. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen it, it's
skippable. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's the standby for us. Like, we've seen it before, but like if you're watching it for the first time, it's cool. But like there was nothing on here that we hadn't seen before. So for our purposes, completely skippable.
I'm guessing it was Hurricane Floyd, which happened on looks like it hit sometime before September 17th. When was that match? Do we know? I'm curious.
It was like what, 2
weeks? I didn't
weeks?
see the date stamp.
2 or 3 weeks before that.
RVD Lynn, RVD Storm, RVD Lynn, 9/17. Yeah,
yeah.
So it might have been that. Let's see. It was forecast to strike Florida, turned away, moved into it struck in North Carolina as a strong Category 2 up through the Mid-Atlantic into New England. Yeah, it looks like I'm looking at the map. Definitely kind of went right along through there near where. Yeah. So I'm guessing that was probably the cause of maybe some weather related issues. Yeah, Southeast Virginia went through Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, New Jersey into New England. So there you go.
It's
Anyway,
it's interesting how they mix up, like, they wanna do stuff for, like, to catch up the old fans, but then they do stuff like this to catch up, like, or I don't know. It just they do this weird mish where they're, like, catering to one group and missing
Mm.
the other and then doing
Yeah.
it back and forth. I don't know. Like, it's
well,
weird.
this 100% to me was just filming time. I mean,
Oh, totally.
again, they had not filmed anything probably because they were
Mhm.
on the road for the pay-per-view. So this was just a complete fill.
Yep.
And they probably weren't planning on showing this match, but they were just like, well, all these cable companies just get screwed up. So instead of airing, because I feel like a lot of times on these shows we'll get like some stupid Chris Chetty match or some shit from like 3
Right.
months ago that they'll show. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Right.
you know, we got this match from the ECW arena that we never aired.
Yeah.
And they probably just were like, well, we might as well just re-air this since most of the country missed it, you know, because of the storm outages or whatever.
Part of my extreme education on the show has been learning about production
Mhm.
and
Mm.
editing and how they navigate all of that. It's something that I never really thought about before when I'm like, yeah, I want to
Well,
go
and
through the history of ECW.
take this
And then
and
I had to
multiply
know
it.
their production schedule in order to make sense of everything.
You do. I mean, and multiply
Yeah.
by hundreds for the scale of WWF and WCW in the early
Exactly.
90s. Like, think
Yeah.
of how
Right.
they used to do shit. Like,
Mhm.
booking all those house shows, running all the syndicated TV, doing promos for each market, right? Knowing what they were going to run in each market ahead of time,
Yep.
knowing what was going to air when on TV, because they were taping months in advance. And they had to make sure they kept it all straight as to who had the belts on the house show, who was feuding with who. So it's like, it's crazy to think of like the
Mhm.
breadth of like syndicated TV, you know, in
Who
that
keeps
era.
up with all of that? Is that
Yeah,
someone's
it's
job
crazy.
continuity stuff? Like,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was just whoever their producers or their promoters were booking all
Right.
the different stuff. But I mean, that's why it's a joke. But WCW a lot of times would have stupid screw ups, right? Where they'd air
Yeah.
it. You know, guys came out with the belts before they won it.
Freebirds
like
have
that.
that.
Right.
Freebirds have that negative title reign or
Yeah.
whatever. 91.
Yep. So there's all kind of crazy shit. I think Harlem Heat happened with them too at one point.
Yeah. The Sid stuff. Sid was supposed to be world champion. They had to scrap all that shit in 93 after he stabbed Arn in Germany, wherever it was, Germany or whatever.
And I always try and keep that perspective in watching this stuff. Like Monday Night Wars, I try, but like with this has really been a test. Like we have really had to keep perspective watching these shows because it is not a normal
No.
cadence or flow of a wrestling promotion. And this is very different the way because of the limited TV and what they had. Because even some like world class, like I feel like it's very niche to that area. Yeah, they got a little bit bigger, but like it was always just there. They aired elsewhere, but they always ran there, right?
Right.
So that's like a thing. This started to become a touring act, and it just got very, I don't know, it's very different. And local TV expanded slowly, and this is not your normal setup for sure. All right, we got one more to go. October 1st, 1999 edition of TNN, ECW and TNN. Joey, welcome to Zoom. We finally get some fresh stuff here. We're the CompuWare Sports Arena in Plymouth Township, Michigan.
Wow.
okay.
Which is now known as the
CompuWare.
USA Hockey Arena. I did a little research on this place. So
Nice.
it is basically, I think, where the USA like hockey team plays and practices,
Oh.
which I thought was kind of neat. So the president of CompuWare was also the owner of the Detroit Whalers minor league hockey team. So he wanted to build a new home in 95, 96 for this team. So he built it. So it was actually like a standard NHL size rink. So they did a lot of different stuff like this. In 2014, USA Hockey agreed to take over the arena and relocated the national team development program from Ann Arbor to Plymouth and showcase other USA Hockey programs. The Plymouth Whalers that they had been renamed were sold, moved to Flint. So the USA Hockey Arena looks like it's still going.
They use tainted water for that ice in Flint.
Yeah, I know, right? Tastes a little weird.
Black rink.
But it's kind of cool. So this is where basically the U.S. hockey development goes on, is in this building that the CCW show. So I thought it was kind of neat. It's a very random one. And CompuWare, obviously, is there you go. It's a throwback in its own right.
Yeah.
That's how they can make hockey cooler. Do black ice and like glow in the dark puck and sticks and shit.
That's
It'll
gotta
be
be
like
a
a disco hockey.
that's
gotta
gotta
be
be a
something
thing.
somewhere.
That's gotta be a thing they can do, right?
That sounds really fun.
I mean, they put the graphics underneath the ice. You could probably just like
Yeah.
dye it black.
That'd be neat.
It's like Rock and Bull, but for hockey.
And you could fight people.
Well, I
Yeah.
still remember when Fox took over in '95. They did the light up puck for a
The
bit.
glow puck, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But hockey is like Pizza Hut. It was the best in the '80s, and they need to embrace that. That's all I'm saying.
How dare you?
All right. We have late breaking news. Raven and Tommy Dreamer had a locker room confrontation and had to be separated. And even with 2 herniated discs, Dreamer will wrestle here tonight. Joey and Joel set us up from the nest, including the first ECW title defense from Mike Awesome on TNN here as well. We get our opening animation that brings us to the ring for that ECW world title match. Mike Awesome defending against Rhino. Steve Carino's here. He brings out Rhino. Joey knows that the Plymouth Whalers play here. Joey's mixing up Rookie and Cookie Monster. Joel, I'm sorry. The names are too similar. Joel mixed up Rookie and Cookie Monster, which makes me laugh a couple times anyway, because Joey keeps calling him a Rookie Monster, and Joel keeps thinking he's saying Cookie Monster. We get a Rhino highlight package. It's a big time spot for Rhino. Awesome's out with Jeff Jones. He looks awesome with the, no pun intended, with the title on his waist. Joey says the judge pulled a coup. He flew Awesome in from Japan on his own money, snuck in the back door, and became champion. Rhino steps to Awesome, who heats right up, blazing a hard clothesline, springboard back elbow, knocks Rhino to the floor, meets him with a suicide dive like a maniac. The crowd is fired up. Awesome pushes up to his feet, throws Rhino into the railing. Awesome cleans off the timekeeper's table and sets it up. But before we use it, we go back in the ring. Joey says Jones had no role in ECW, so he made himself one with this move. Awesome slings Rhino back inside, meets him with a top rope lariat for 2. Rhino counters a powerbomb with a backdrop and a spinebuster for 2 and hammers away. Rhino follows with a diving headbutt off the top for 2 and slugs at him. Rhino runs into a boot. Awesome snaps him over with a released German. Tries out the Awesome Bomb, but Rhino slips out of it. Awesome recovers, loads the Awesome Bomb, and throws Rhino out of the ring through a table in an awesome spot to a massive pop. Awesome follows, drags the dead Rhino back in the ring, and finishes with a top rope splash. And this is Matt Souza right up my alley. Great Haas beatdown. Awesome looked fantastic. Impact offense, a madman style. Rhino looked great too, taking all the shit and sneaking in some offense. A perfect first title defense of the champion, looking dominant, impressive on national TV. Awesome, feels like a spectacle, and it could lead to shakeup of ECW that we needed on top of the card to feel a little bit more fresh. So I went 3 stars on this. I loved it. I thought it was really well done. I thought it made Awesome stand out, and Taz is a spectacle, so we don't lose the spectacle vibes of our world champion, but it's a much different way, right? Taz felt like a big game hunter. He would just kind of pick you apart, maybe more like a serial killer. Whereas Awesome is just this manic ball of energy. I mean, doing topes within 30 seconds. It's like a just crazed man doing all kinds of stupid shit. So like, it's just a different vibe, but it still has that like, okay, must see elements to it. So I thought this is a great match. Probably I'd say the RVD Lynn, obviously, but like, I think it's one of the best things we've seen on TNN so far.
Yeah, more of this, please, because Jesus Christ, this was fantastic. Pardon the pun. This is awesome. Like, I loved it. Like 5 minutes, just 2 guys fucking throwing bombs, doing their thing. The table splat power bomb at the end was brutal, and Rhino looked like he was dead when he went through it. So give me this every week on TNN. Like, this is what we need. Like, just have Mike Awesome go out there every week for 5 minutes and just unload his fucking offense on a Rhino, a Danny Doring, Chris Chetty, whoever the fuck, because like it's super entertaining. And yeah, like I love the hell out of this. I actually went 3 1/4 on it. So yeah, Mike Awesome's heavyweight title run off to a hell of a start, Jenny.
This is like so refreshing to see. Like, honestly, like you said, just feels different and new. Rhino looked awesome. It was great matchup with that. I would have never expected Mike Awesome to be fucking champ #1 and for him to take on Rhino first thing. But I love it. There's a great chemistry with them too. Just big guys, just like you said, throwing bombs. And kicking ass. It was really, really fun to watch. That table break was a thing of beauty. We've seen hundreds of these, but
Mhm.
the way that it exploded and the way he just kind of
Yeah.
floated down
Yeah.
was perfection. Sabu couldn't do it any better. So I love the splash at the end as well. And I gave it 3 stars. It's a fantastic match.
Yeah, I think it's helped too that Awesome isn't a guy that's been around. Like I feel like every
Yeah.
world
Yes.
champion or big feud has been like a lifer, which I get rewarding those guys too. But
Mhm.
they're all guys we've seen a million times. Like Taz, we've seen years of Douglas, years of Sabu, we've seen years of, or even RVD. He
Mhm.
Yep.
still feels fresh in many ways, but we've seen years of him.
Mhm.
Storm and Lynn. I mean, at this point, those guys, Storm's been around almost 2.5 years at this point. Like, it's crazy to think, right? And Credible and Lynn came in at the end of 97 already. So, like, it's almost 2 years for them. So, Awesome. Yeah, he was here before. It was a cup of coffee. But I think that helps these feel different, is that we haven't seen a shitload of him. So,
Right.
Yes.
he's on top, he's dominant, and it's completely fresh and
Yep.
different from what we've been seeing. It's not just, oh, Taz is champion now, doing the same Taz things we've seen for 4 years, right? Like it's a whole new, bucket of puppies. So,
Yeah, and I mean, he's only really wrestled Tanaka.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, that too,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
basically.
we haven't seen
Yeah.
him do much else.
we haven't
besides
seen
that,
him
so.
face anybody else either, so that helps it too.
No. All right, we get the OneWrestling.com Extreme Replay. That is the finisher from our opener. Joey and Joel then chat for a minute, and we head back to the ring for our next match, which is more FBI action as Big Sally Graziano and Little Guido take on Spike Dudley. Of course, this is coming for revenge from last week when Spike got in the acid drop over Sal. Spike is all smiles. He stomps down as Joey talks about Sal's past troubles. We get clips of all the big men Spike has taken down with the acid drop in the past. We head back to the arena where Spike gets the acid drop right away, covers with 1 foot, but Guido's in and break up the cover. Guido beats down Spike as Joey tells us we have a handicap match. After the break, Spike and Guido are trading cradles and covers. Spike gets 2 on a neck breaker, knocks Guido outside of the forearm. Spike follows with a tope, but Sal hobbles over and squishes him into the railing. Sal pitches Spike back inside. Guido hits a Sicilian slice for 2. Guido goes to the Fujiwara, gets 2 on a Tamikaze. Sal gets to the ring as Guido slams Spike, but Sal misses a splash. Spike springs off Sal with an acid drop on Guido, dodges a Sal elbow, and he falls on Guido. Spike then gets the acid drop on Sal, falls on Guido again. Spike sits on the two of them like just a mountain, and he wins the match. This is fun. Like, I didn't mind this. Spike getting the win because at least it's a bit of a match and they're stooging around. Like, I'll take this over the 3-second bullshit. Tough luck loss for Guido, but he was on point, and it was just Sal falling on him, cost of the match. So this was fine for TV, especially coming off that Haas battle, just to kind of get a little levity in there, and the crowd was into it. So I went 1.5 stars, Matt. It was perfectly accessible, whatever.
Yeah, I went a gentleman's 2 on it. I like that it was more than your normal Spike versus random Giant X match. Like, I feel like outside of like the stuff with balls, we haven't seen Spike have like a singles match like this, and I mean, it's not a singles match, but something like this in a while. And I thought, they had good chemistry, Sal and Spike. I mean, and Sal and Guido. So it was perfectly fine for what it was. Like, this is another, like, this could have been like 30 seconds long. Like, Spike takes out Guido and then he hits the acid drop on Sal. But I like that they gave it a little bit of time, which, I mean, anything more than 10 seconds, I guess, is a little bit of time at this point. So I thought this was decent enough for what it was, Jenny. So 2 stars for me.
Yeah, we had just asked for Spike to be doing things.
Mhm.
So here he comes doing some things, and they look really good. It's a really fun match. Great matchup with Guido. My first note, wonder if Guido wins this. Just sadly, no. I don't know why I'm just gonna stop. I'm just gonna stop hoping for Guido to win a match. Like, maybe that will help me. But the 2 times the acid drop was great. I love that. Just a really fun little match, and I went 2.5 on it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm fine with it. Like, I think it's perfectly good for what they were trying to do. So.
It was very entertaining.
Yeah, right.
All right. Joey talks about the backstage fight between Raven and Dreamer, how Dreamer has to wrestle to Jerry tonight with a bad back. Dreamer told Raven he can't interfere in his matches anymore, and that's what triggered the brawl. Joel says he needs Raven to survive with his back injury, but he's not going to figure it out. He won't get it. Joey says Tammy Lynn Sitch makes her return to ECW next Friday and will debut on TNN. And Joel says, you don't know half the story. of Tammy. It's controversial and titillating. So,
How we feeling about that?
Just trying to goose up some ratings, obviously here.
Yeah,
Typical kind of wrestling smarminess, right? Like, oh, hey, here's who was the hottest woman in wrestling a couple years ago,
right?
Fallen from grace, right? Drug issues and everything else. We're going to tell her story in this expose. Tune in. So, I mean, I know it's kind of cheap, but I can't shit on them because that was just the style. So,
She had already fallen by this time. Like,
yeah, she had
was
some issues.
pretty fast.
Oh yeah.
No, she washed out pretty quick.
Yeah.
We'll get.
I guess I was thinking she was kind of around for a little bit longer, just in wrestling.
She is not around as long as you think in wrestling. I mean, it's crazy to say, but because she's like the biggest freaking star in the world for a minute there.
Yeah.
But it's really her run in WWF is like mid '95 to early '98, and even that's like sporadic in there.
Right.
Did the ECW thing. I think she had her problems. Does this. She does get a little cup of coffee in WCW. And that's it pretty much. I mean, from here on, it's like little indie things, etc. But this is, and then she does the porn stuff, Missy Hyatt.
Right.
So from here on out, it's kind of, this is it. Like she's on the back end already.
Wow.
So no, she was definitely, I don't think it was as crazy stuff as it is now, where it's like the DUIs and all that crap. I think it was just like prescription pills, depression. Like I think she was just like,
there was a lot of
story,
a lot of backstage shit going on with her.
Yeah, I think it's more
Candido and just the whole thing.
I think this is more like a sad story of how she get used up versus anything like legal issues or whatever. But, all right, we get an RVD music video. Joel then runs down the upcoming shows in Rock Hill, South Carolina, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Houma, Louisiana, and New Orleans, Louisiana.
I'm sorry?
I don't even know where. Joel says Joey, asked Joey why everyone in wrestling is so paranoid. And he takes us back to some footage from Anarchy Rules. Then we go back to the ring as Danny Doring and Roadkill are here again to take on C.W. Anderson and Wild Bill Wiles.
Oh, boy.
Doring and his crew hit the ring. This is a pre-pay-per-view match from Anarchy Rules. So this is a dark match that happened before the pay-per-view. Miss Congeniality gets the biggest pop out of anyone. But the fans are into Roadkill as well. Joey says CW and Bill are House of Hardcore's top students. Roadkill peppers Wiles, gets a near fall on a power slam. We reset with Doring and CW doing a quick flurry of counters. Doring gets a head scissors and arm drag. Roadkill comes in with a sidewalk slam. Doring and Roadkill work together to clean house and pummel both guys. Doring gets a bareback on Wiles, but CW recovers with a spine buster, gets a single arm DDT on Doring and stomps away. Doring needs to come back. He tags Roadkill, cuts through both guys with ease. Wiles gets a power slam on Doring for 2. Roadkill makes a save. CW catches Roadkill with a super kick, but now Doring saves, gets a double arm DDT on CW for 2. Chaotic pace as Doring avoids the power slam, gets a slop drop on Wiles, and Roadkill finishes with a top rope splash to a pop. This is pretty fun. Kind of extended squash. CW and Wiles got a little bit of a run here, but Chaos down the stretch was pretty good. That's fine. Doring's crew is pretty over. I think the crowd is just pumped for the pay-per-view to start. So usually anyone in that dark match on pay-per-view kind of gets a overinflated excitement, Jenny. So I went 2 stars. That was perfectly acceptable again. And Doring and Roadkill are good in their role, so I don't mind seeing them.
Yeah, we've come a long way with Doring and Roadkill, have we not? Now they're beating up some jobbers.
And they are.
So they're moving on up, and I like their little team. They're a little derivative. I mean, their team is no great shakes. They're kind of like redneck Impact players or whatever. But yeah, it's a fun little tag match, and I like Doring and Roadkill, I guess now. So I just feel like we need like some promos or something. Like they typically do pretty decent promos together. So I would like to see a little bit more of them. I did the 2 1/4, Maddie.
Yeah, I went 2 on this. It was perfectly fine. It was a good showcase for Doring and Roadkill. I think they kind of needed a match like this after losing in a minute and a half to fucking Dreamer and Raven 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So, like it makes sense to a couple weeks later have them, squashing 2 jobbers, C.W. Anderson and Wild Bill Wiles of all fucking people. Good God, he's back. But at least it was a squash. I'll give it that. But yeah, I mean, for what it was perfectly fine. So 2 stars.
Yeah, we didn't see Bill Wiles a bit.
Yeah.
All right, Joey and Joel catch up at the nest. Joel's horny for Miss Congeniality, of course, and then that sets up our main event, which is Tommy Dreamer taking on Tajiri. Tommy and Francine stalk to the ring. Joey knows that Tommy's wearing street clothes looking for a fight. After a break, Tommy hits a baseball slide on Tajiri, driving him into Carino. He wipes out Victory as well, then shoots Tajiri to the railing, crotches him, and smashes him with a soda. Back inside, he claws at Tajiri's face. Tajiri comes back with a handspring elbow, lays in a stiff kick. Tommy ends up on the apron. He snaps Tajiri's neck on the top rope and gets a slingshot splash for 2. Tommy slams Tajiri, heads up top, but Tajiri crotches him, whiffs on a baseball slide to the face, and slams into the post. Tommy gets up. Now he puts Tajiri in the trio, and he hits a running drop kick into a chair. Tommy's up on the apron and tries a suplex, but Tajiri blocks it, kicks Tommy off the apron. He flops over a table to the floor. Tajiri kicks away on the floor, shoves Tommy back inside. Tommy's up and lands a low blow. Now Tommy hooks a tarantula, but Carino makes the save. Tommy grabs Carino on the floor, but Tajiri nails him with a baseball slide and then kicks away at the legs, spikes Tommy into a chair. Tommy reverses a whip, throws Tajiri to the crowd. He follows out. The crowd is hyped. They're brawling against the bleachers. Tajiri gets dumped in the penalty box. Tommy wallops him with a chair. Tommy peppers away, revs up the crowd as Tajiri stumbles around. He's bleeding. Tajiri tries to crawl away from Tommy, who stalks him with a chair and mashes him in the head. The crowd's losing it as Tommy fires up and drags Tajiri back to ringside. Tommy dumps a beer on him, shoves him in the ring, and unloads fists in the corner. Tommy eats a hard kick on a charge, and Tajiri follows with a big knee drop to the back of the head. Tajiri stomps on the head as Francine begs Tommy to fight back. Tommy ducks a spin kick. He hits a goalie driver for a near fall. Jack Victory makes a save. Carino is in, but Francine is right after him. She charges and floats over Carino, kicks him in the nuts, and hits a pedigree. Raven is in. He hits a DDT on Dreamer, and Tajiri covers Tommy for the win. Joey knows the tag titles are not on the line. Obviously, so Raven was okay to cost Tommy because he's not protecting the belts. The crowd loved this match. It was red hot. Tajiri was like a rabid animal. Tommy was at his best, stalking and maiming Tajiri. It was kind of good to see him back moving around. Really fun chemistry. The vibes were good. The heat was there. Fun TV main event. It was good to see Tommy back out there. Raven costing him and the story continuing is building better than it was a week ago, I think. At least this is like a little bit of something different. Red hot, Jenny. I went 3.5. I mean, that was a really damn good match.
Number 1, Tommy Dreamer's not worn wrestling gear the entire time I've known him. But today he comes to the ring in his fucking pajamas.
Yeah, that was something.
So I'm like,
that's why he street fights in pajamas.
Yeah,
it was in extreme pajamas. Yeah,
and then it's just Joey talks all through this about his back. His back. We're always talking about Dreamer's back. I want to be done with talking about his back. If he has back problems, he should not be doing this shit with Tajiri. So let's just take it off the table. Let's just forget about that part. You can see him struggling through this match, but he does pull it out, and it is a really fun match. Tajiri just does his thing, and then lets Tommy do his thing. But that chair shot was really good. The crowd brawl was really good. The Tree of Woe stuff was good. But you could see him struggling through it. And I would just rather not be hit in the face with it. You should be in a hospital as opposed to what you are doing right now. And I know that happens a lot, like Sabu and blah, blah, blah. But we've just done this for months with Tommy. So, is he going to get fixed or is he going to keep wrestling? Because if he's going to keep wrestling, then y'all need to shut the fuck up about his back. So that's how I feel about that. Loved the Raven stuff at the end. I did 3.5.
Yeah, I went 3.25 on this. Dreamer extreme pajamas was a hell of a choice. Good lord, haven't seen him wrestle a full length match in 6 months, and he comes back wearing his Run DMC Adidas tracksuit type thing. Good lord. Yeah, to Jenny's point, you could see at point Dreamer was doing that bad back walk. If you have a bad back, you know what I'm talking about. It's that your knees are hunched, your back is kind of straight up, especially when he was carrying Tajiri across the ring and he was trying to hang him up in the Tree of Woe. That hurt me watching him do that.
Why are you doing a tarantula? Yeah. Why is that a spot that you want to try, sir?
Also, that you're not the most agile person, and now you're gonna start doing that shit. Okay, fine. That's not something a man with a bad back should do. And then there was that other spot too where he eats a kick on the apron from Tajiri, and then he just
Yes.
crashes into the table, and the table doesn't fucking break. So now, if his back was fine, it's probably fucking broken again after he crashed into the table. I like the Raven interference. It's something like if Dreamer is healthy enough to go, it kind of tells me that all right, we're moving on to the next step because now
Exactly.
you can have a match maybe between
Yeah.
Dreamer and Raven.
If
So
Raven's okay.
right,
If Raven's okay.
maybe the fucking gout came back for
Right,
Raven.
right,
Oh,
we don't know what's going on
shit.
with him.
Not the gout.
Who can say? But I'm cautiously optimistic that maybe we're gonna get a Dreamer Raven match now that it seems like Dreamer can wrestle a full length match. So
I'll be curious if that's the plan for November to Remember, or if they're going to drag this tag thing out even past that, and whatever
Yeah.
guilty as charged, whatever the next one is in January, maybe to then. But it feels like they should fight in November to Remember. Like that's where it feels like they should head.
You're right. Yeah,
But we'll see.
but I mean,
Well, they
so
would have to heat it up real quick, but they can do that with Tommy.
yeah,
Oh, well,
right?
and they got their history. Yeah, there's so much history.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it's
he
easy.
can do that real quick.
Yeah, Raven finally says "fuck you,"
Yeah.
tossed on the tag belts. DDT
Right.
Sam instead during tag settle match, and now is your time. Like, let's go. Something
Yeah.
like that.
So I mean, it was good to see Dreamer have a full length match here, as painful as it was to see him fucking move. But I went 3 1/4 on it.
All right, and that's it for the episode. Best match, like I went with that main event,
Yep.
which surprised me because I really figured it was. I think I probably had the opener written in as soon as it finished.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
See, I went with the opener. I
Yeah.
had them both ranked the same, but I had to go with the opener.
they're both great.
No.
Worst match was Spike FBI.
Yep.
Which is crazy because Bill Wiles is in a match. Best moment. Best moment was easy to me. It's the awesome bomb through the table, which just looked amazing.
Yes, amazing.
Most 90s, Francine doing the pedigree, which
Oh, I loved
obviously,
that. She
Triple
was
H
great.
had just become world champion. Triple H shows
Yeah,
Right.
pretty hot.
she ate it too. That was good.
Yeah.
She did. And then CompuWare, of course.
The fuck is that?
Stark Rising, Mike Awesome, Rhino, Danny Doring, Roadkill, Congeniality, Dreamer, Tajiri, on and on and on. They all look great.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
And I didn't have anyone falling because even
No.
normally I would have thrown CW and Wiles in there, but even they looked fine. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I went 8 out of 10. I mean, this is a great
Yeah.
episode, probably one of the best TNNs we've seen.
Yep.
And you don't need much. I mean, like it was just 2 red hot matches. There was no big swerve, no big stories, no big debuts or chaos. It was just like a hot crowd and 2 great matches. Like you didn't need much more than that. So.
That might be the key with TNN is to just have fucking good matches, honestly, and
with a
leave the
hot crowd, put it in the
and
right
leave-
arenas,
and leave the story shit for hardcore TV.
because these were
I
in
would be fine with that.
these were in the ECW arena, right? Oh no, Plymouth. That's
No.
right.
Yeah,
Still, but I mean that crowd is hot, so whatever.
Right.
Give us a hot crowd and guys that could just go out and kick the shit out of each other.
Mhm.
You probably don't need much more. I don't know if they're sweetening any noise. Like I wasn't paying as much attention to the crowd. I guess it would shock me if they were doing a little bit of it, but
I didn't consider that. Usually, you don't have to with the ECW crowds.
right.
Is this show a sign of like them getting their shit back together as far as the booking and all of these things that have been bugging us?
It could be, right? Because they've been in a weird spot, right? Like
Very
they've
weird.
kind of known Taz is probably on his way out the door. They've known the Dudleys are probably on their way out the door. We had a lot of injuries, screwing up pay-per-views. Yeah, it feels like this is kind of maybe a hard reset. Like, Awesome on top.
Just kind of like getting back to something that is about like good stories and great matches.
That's gotta suck. You lose your top guy and your top tag team as soon as you fucking go national. Like, can you imagine what it was like backstage? Like, can't even fucking imagine.
But in a way, it's like, again, it gave chances, made other guys to step up and freshen things up. Because I think, look, I've been one of the biggest Taz, fans of it all, through all this. And I mean, the Dudleys were long past due, and I would say Taz was not far behind. Like, so I don't want to I'm sure at the time, if another guy sold out, another guy sold out, another guy sold out, another guy sold out, right? Because we have Raven go, we had Sandman go, and then these guys go, Bigelow left. So we've seen a ton of it, but ECW has always persevered, and I think because of that attrition earlier, Douglas, they started to really lean on the guys that they could trust, right? So like Taz, so I just think we got burned out. Like it was just like, and Taz is so meandering in that title reign.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, all right, maybe it's time. Like he's out of shit
Yeah.
to do. So I think it's been a net upgrade so far, like to Mike Awesome. We'll see how it holds up. And I'm curious what the pay-per-view brings because we haven't had a stable pay-per-view. We've had good ones. Like we liked Heat Wave, we liked, like we like the pay-per-views, but we haven't had like a stable pay-per-view environment. So let's see how the build is and how it delivers. But I mean, the TNN thing is going to crumble sooner than later. So we'll see.
True.
All right. That'll do it for us. We will be back, of course, as the saying goes. Is that a saying? I don't know.
It is now.
It is. We will return on 2 weeks from today. We will have 10 to 10. I don't even know. 3 or 4 weeks of TV. I got to look at it, but we'll be in there somewhere. I shouldn't say weeks, episodes of TV. It looks like we'll have 4. I think we'll have 4 episodes of TV. So there you go. All right, that'll do it. We're done. Stay extreme. Talk to you soon, young man. Goodbye.